Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is one of the most emotional chapters in James and Diep's journey. A story about courage, choices, and the kind of love that doesn't wait for life to be perfect. Last night, Diep had no idea what James was planning. But this morning, he took her to a place she never dreamed she would step into. A luxury wedding dress boutique. Why did he do it now, when their company is still unstable? What is the real meaning behind this surprise? And what future is James secretly preparing for? Stay with me, because today's story will leave you breathless. If you find this touching, don't forget to subscribe for the next episodes of Diep and James. Nay had already drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep, her tiny breaths rising and falling softly under the blanket. Only James and Diep remained awake, sharing the quiet glow of a single warm bulb. The world outside was dark, but inside, everything felt safe, small and intimate, like the night itself had curled around them. Diep leaned back against the wooden headboard, voice bubbling with excitement as she talked about the mung beans she'd picked earlier that day. Everyone loved them, she said, her face bright. They told me to pick more, said they'd buy as much as we can bring. Her enthusiasm filled the room like fragrance. James listened with that gentle attentiveness she loved, nodding slowly. "That's good," he murmured, though something thoughtful lingered in his tone. "I quit working for my dad, you know. Now, I just help him with private things when needed. But our main effort, it's our company." His voice was calm, but there was a quiet strength in it, a decision he'd already made long before telling her. A line drawn, a chapter closed. Diep looked at him, emotion stirring deep in her chest. She believed him. She always had. Without speaking, she reached for his hand, and he met her halfway. James squeezed lightly. "Tomorrow," he said, lowering his voice like sharing a secret. "I'll take you somewhere, a special place. I've been waiting so long to bring you there." Diep laughed softly, curiosity sparkling. "Where? Are we going on a trip?" He shook his head. "More special than that," he admitted, "but I'm a little scared you might not like it." That single sentence shifted the air. The simple nightly talk suddenly deepened into something tender, something trembling with expectation. The atmosphere felt like a quiet river at night, steady, soft, and full of hidden meaning. Diep listened, sensing the layers inside him. His mother liked her, he said. His voice warmed at the memory. But when the topic drifted near his father, he avoided it. Diep caught the flicker of old pain crossing his face before it disappeared again. She already understood, without needing details. So she tightened her grip on his hand, giving comfort without words. The kettle in the corner began to boil with a rolling sound, and the wind outside rustled the leaves. Small reminders that the world kept moving while they sat suspended in their own quiet moment. It felt like the universe had folded in just for them. James stood up at last, brushing her cheek with his fingers. "Go shower," he said softly. "Tomorrow we wake early for Nee's school." Diep nodded, though her heart beat louder now, fluttering with the mystery of tomorrow. She didn't ask more. She didn't want to break the magic of the moment. When James switched off the light, the room fell into darkness, but a warm darkness, one that felt like soil, where hope could grow roots. And it did. The first rays of dawn stretched across the village like a blessing. After breakfast, James dropped Nee off at school, kneeling to fix her Doraemon backpack. "You're so good," he told her. "Teacher said you learned so fast." Nee puffed her cheeks proudly, waved, and ran inside. As soon as she disappeared through the gate, James sat straighter on the bike. His heartbeat quickened. Today was the day he'd planned for weeks. At exactly 8 a.m., he brought Diep to a magnificent wedding dress boutique. Not just a random store, the store. Chandeliers, floral scent, sparkling displays, everything glowing with gentle elegance. The moment they stepped through the door, a staff member beamed. "You two are here for the fitting, right? Please have some water. Then we'll do hair and makeup for the bride." Diep froze. "Bride?" She turned to James, eyes wide. "Why didn't you tell me about this?" James only smiled, that mysterious smile that made her heart turn to liquid. "A secret," he said simply. And with that, a makeup artist gently took Diep's hand, guiding her to the stylist's chair. James followed right behind, never letting go. The boutique felt like a dream she wasn't sure she belonged in. The chandeliers glowed softly. The mirrors shimmered. The scent of fresh peonies floated in the air. Diep stared at her reflection, her heart beating so loud she swore the whole shop could hear it. "So this is the place you wanted to bring me," she whispered. James, sitting beside her, discreetly slid his hand under the stylist's cape to hold hers. "Just trying today," he said softly. The staff smiled. "Bride sits here, groom over there." The low hum of hairdryers filled the space. Stylists laughed gently. Brushes swirled with color. It was like the overture of a wedding dream, each motion a small promise. Diep watched James through the mirror, the way he looked at her, the way his eyes couldn't hide their softness. And suddenly, she felt it. For the first time in her life, she looked like a bride. James leaned close to her ear. "I can't wait," he whispered. Those 3 words made her whole body tremble. The good kind of trembling. Whatever stress she had from work, from life, from the company, melted away. Today, everything was unreal. Perfect. Magical. Sunlight spilled through the large window, painting her reflection with a gentle halo. It felt like heaven was giving a quiet nod of approval. James squeezed her hand again, not in reassurance, but in pure, overflowing affection. Today wasn't just a fitting. It was a glimpse of the life he wanted with her, a test run for their future happiness. She felt it in every breath, every heartbeat, and the day had barely begun. James stepped into the fitting area in a groom's suit, looking sharp, confident, and radiant in a way she'd never seen before. The moment Diep opened the fitting room curtain in her wedding dress, the world stopped. White fabric embraced her figure softly. The veil shimmered. She stood there like an angel who accidentally walked into a human world. James's mouth parted. You're beautiful," he breathed. "This one fits you perfectly." Diep spun shyly, the skirt fluttering gently. "You look handsome too," she replied, cheeks pink. "I didn't expect this." A stylist tugged gently at the zipper, adjusting the fabric. "With her petite figure, this style is ideal," they commented. James watched every second like committing it to memory. Diep stepped toward James, each movement slow, almost reverent. The studio lights softened around her, casting a warm glow across the delicate lace of her dress. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They simply gazed at each other, like 2 people finally seeing the version of their love they had dreamed about. but never dared to imagine aloud. James walked closer, lifting her veil with careful fingers. "You're beautiful in a way I can't describe," he whispered. "Different, special, just you." Diep's eyes shimmered with tears. "This is the first time in my life I've worn something so beautiful," she said softly, voice trembling. "And the first time I've ever seen myself like this." The staff around them exchanged warm glances, sensing the sincerity between the couple. Someone quickly picked up a camera and snapped a few spontaneous photos. Click, 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 capturing a moment that neither of them would ever forget. James gently wrapped his arms around her waist, enough to feel her, but not enough to wrinkle the dress. "I know we have to wait for the real wedding," he murmured, "but I couldn't wait to let you experience this feeling." Diep leaned into him, overwhelmed. "Thank you," she said, "for bringing me here, for everything." The shop felt like a place where love itself resided, fragrant, glowing, alive. Every ribbon, every crystal, every fabric seemed to whisper blessings around them. In the large mirror before them, Diep saw a future, not distant, not vague, but real. A future where she wasn't just trying on a wedding dress. She was wearing it for real, standing next to the man she loved. James held her hand as if anchoring her to that vision. "When the company stabilizes," he said gently, "we'll take real wedding photos. Hold a real wedding. Do everything properly." Diep nodded without hesitation. "I can wait," she replied, "as long as it's with you." Her voice was soft but steady, the voice of someone who knew how to be patient without losing faith. James brushed away a tear rolling toward her cheek. "I know it's not the perfect time yet," he said, "but today, I just wanted to give you a piece of what's coming." They stayed standing there for a while, framed by lights and lace, letting the moment stretch and sink deep into their hearts. It wasn't the official day, but the feeling was as real as any wedding vow. Eventually, Diep returned to the fitting room to change back into her clothes. James waited outside, hands in pockets, still replaying the sight of her in the dress. When she stepped out in her usual outfit, he smiled. Not with disappointment, but with recognition. Because even without the dress, she was still the woman he wanted to marry. Together, they thanked the staff, who waved with bright smiles. "Come again when it's time for the real wedding," one of them called out. James opened the car door for Diep instinctively. Earlier, she would have teased him, but today, she simply smiled and stepped inside, still floating in the surreal warmth of the experience. As the car pulled away, the boutique faded behind them, but the emotions stayed vivid. Diep leaned her head on James's shoulder once they reached a quieter road. "I feel like I'm still wearing the dress," she whispered. James laughed softly. "You look too good. My heart hasn't calmed down yet." She nudged him playfully. "Really?" "Really," he said, eyes still shining. "You were unforgettable." Their hands found each other again, fingers intertwining naturally. Outside, the scenery slipped by. Trees, small houses, fields. But inside the car, time slowed. Evening sunlight filtered through the window, painting everything in soft gold. The kind of light that made things feel destined. Diep watched the world pass, then spoke quietly. "I used to think people like me didn't belong in places like that shop." James immediately shook his head. "No, you belong anywhere your heart wants to be. And beside me, always." She smiled, heart warming at his certainty. "When the company grows," she said, "I want to help you more, support you more. I want us to build everything together." James squeezed her hand. "We will," he said simply, step by step, no rush. The road home stretched endlessly ahead, but instead of feeling long, it felt comforting, like a path they would walk again and again, together, for the rest of their lives. The wind danced through the half-open window, carrying the scent of early evening. Leaves rustled lightly, as if whispering encouragement. Destiny didn't shout. Sometimes it spoke softly, exactly like this. As they neared home, James slowed down, turning his head slightly toward her. "Today was just the beginning," he said. Diep closed her eyes, letting the words settle. "And tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow," he answered, with a smile she could hear even without looking. "We keep dreaming, and working, and loving." The engine hummed, steady like a heartbeat. When they reached the house, Diep stepped out, took a deep breath, and smiled. A long, peaceful, content smile that reached her soul. James walked around the car, wrapping an arm around her shoulders as they headed inside. "Come on," he teased. "We have dinner to make, bride-to-be." Diep laughed, cheeks warm. "I'm not a bride yet." He leaned down, whispering near her ear, "You already are. Mine." She didn't respond with words. Instead, she held his hand tighter. Inside, the light flicked on, casting familiar warmth across their small home. Nothing extravagant, nothing luxurious, just simple and full of love. And somehow, after today, it felt like the most beautiful place in the world. For both of them. James glanced at Diep once more. The woman who had turned his life upside down, straightened his heart, and made the future feel like something worth chasing. And Diep glanced back. The man who chose her, lifted her, and made her believe that love didn't need perfection, just patience. That evening, as they cooked together, their laughter mingled with the sizzling sound of the pan. No chandeliers here, no veils or suits, but the feeling was the same. A quiet certainty, a shared dream, a promise that didn't need to be spoken aloud. One day, their real wedding would come. And when it did, everything would finally be complete. On a quiet night after Nee had fallen asleep, James revealed to Diep that he'd left his father's company, choosing instead to build a future of their own. The next morning, he surprised her by taking her to an elegant wedding dress boutique, a place Diep never imagined she would step into. Under soft lights and rows of white gowns, she saw herself as a bride for the very first time, while James watched her with the eyes of a man who had already chosen his forever. They couldn't afford a real wedding yet, but that moment was enough to prove their happiness was already on the way.